The chandeliers in the grand ballroom of the Crestwood estate glittered like a constellation, casting golden light over the Thompson family's annual gala. The air was thick with the scent of truffle hors d'oeuvres and vintage champagne, the clink of crystal glasses mingling with self-congratulatory laughter. My relatives, siblings, cousins, aunts, and uncles paraded their wealth like peacocks, their designer gowns and tailored suits a silent competition. Parked outside, my 2009 Honda Accord, faded silver with a dented fender, sat humbly between my sister Lauren's sleek Porsche and my cousin Derek's Lamborghini. I knew the whispers it would spark before I even stepped inside. I'm Elena Thompson, 34, founder and CEO of Quantum Dynamics, a Boston-based quantum computing firm valued at $6.8 billion. My company's algorithms power everything from global supply chains to medical research, earning me a spot on Time's 100 Most Influential list. But to my family, I'm the oddball who never made it, the one driving a junk car and wearing off-the-rack clothes. They'd cast me as the failure in their gilded narrative, and tonight's gala was their stage to remind me. I smoothed my navy sheath dress, a $200 find from a local boutique, not the custom Valentino Lauren flaunted, and clutched my gift, a $3,500 bottle of Chateau Petrus, its label understated but its value a quiet rebellion. As I crossed the marble foyer, my mother's voice cut through the chatter. "Elena, darling, you're late. And that car—" She trailed off, her diamond earrings glinting with disapproval. I smiled tightly. "Good to see you, Mom." Inside, the ballroom was a spectacle of excess. Lauren, 32, a hedge fund VP, flashed a new emerald necklace to our cousin Sophie, who cooed over its price tag. Derek, 36, a real estate mogul, boasted about his latest Miami penthouse, his Rolex catching the light. Aunt Vivian, ever the critic, sipped her martini while dissecting everyone's life choices. "Still tinkering with that little tech job, Ellie?" Derek called, using the nickname I despised. His smirk widened. "That Honda still running, or are you duct taping it together now?" I set the wine on the bar, watching my mother swap it for a bottle from her collection, likely destined for her chef's reduction sauce. "Elena's just sensible," she said, the word dripping with pity. "Not everyone needs extravagance." Lauren chimed in, her tone syrupy. "I know a guy who can get you into a decent lease, Elena, if your credit's not totally shot." They laughed, a chorus of condescension, assuming my life was a patchwork of struggle. They didn't know Quantum Dynamics had just closed a $4.2 billion merger with a German tech giant, a deal I'd orchestrated from my modest office. They didn't know my little tech job employed 12,000 people across 4 continents. They didn't know I owned a brownstone in Beacon Hill, a villa in Tuscany, and a private jet I rarely used. I'd chosen the Honda, the dress, the low profile, not out of necessity, but strategy. Let them underestimate me. It made the reveal sweeter. Growing up in Greenwich, Connecticut, I was the misfit in a family obsessed with status. My father ran a private equity firm. My mother chaired charity galas. Lauren was the star, poised, popular, destined for Wall Street. Derek was the charmer, flipping properties by 25. I was the quiet one, building circuit boards in the basement, teaching myself quantum mechanics while my peers chased Ivy League pedigrees. "Why can't you be more like Lauren?" my father once barked when I turned down a finance internship to join a tech startup. I didn't argue. I just left. At 23, I moved to Boston with $500, a refurbished laptop, and a dream. I lived in a cramped studio, waited tables, and coded at night, fueled by instant noodles and ambition. By 27, I'd founded Quantum Dynamics with 2 MIT classmates, betting everything on quantum algorithms when skeptics called it sci-fi. Our first breakthrough, a supply chain optimizer, saved a retailer $80 million in a year. Contracts followed: NASA, Pfizer, the Pentagon. By 30, we were a unicorn, then a titan. I stayed under the radar, driving my Honda, wearing simple clothes, investing my wealth in innovation, not flash. I never stopped supporting my family. When Lauren's condo faced foreclosure, I wired $200,000 to save it. When Derek's yacht deal fell through, I covered the $150,000 shortfall. I funded my parents' 40th anniversary cruise, sent Sophie's kids to private school, even bailed out Aunt Vivian's failing boutique. No one asked, no one thanked me. Lauren posted a photo of her condo, blessed to keep my sanctuary. My mother sent a text, thanks for the help. That was it. I was their ATM, not their equal. Family gatherings were a gauntlet of jabs. Still in that startup phase, Elena, Derek would say, as if my life's work was a hobby. You should talk to my financial advisor, Sophie offered, assuming I scraped by. Lauren's favorite line, "You're so minimalist, it's cute." I let them talk, knowing the truth would hit harder than any retort. The week of the gala, quantum dynamics was on fire. Our merger had boosted our stock 22%, and I was onboarding a new executive team, including my CFO, Priya Patel, a finance prodigy who'd left Goldman Sachs to join me. Priya was no-nonsense, loyal, and knew my family's antics from my late-night rants. "They'll eat their words one day," she'd said, grinning. I hadn't planned for that day to be tonight, but fate had other ideas. As the gala unfolded, the script was predictable. Lauren detailed her Aspen ski trip, Derek bragged about a $70 million deal, and my mother steered the conversation to their triumphs. "Elena's managing," she said when Sophie asked about me, her tone implying I was one step from bankruptcy. "At least you're independent," Aunt Vivian added, as if it were a consolation prize. Lauren leaned in, her smile sharp. "Still single, Elena? Or is work your only love?" I thought of Ryan, my partner of a year, a biotech CEO worth $300 million who preferred hiking boots to Hermes. "Work keeps me busy," I said, dodging. "Busy with what?" Derek scoffed. "What's your company called again? Quantum something? Sounds like a college project." If he'd read the Wall Street Journal, he'd know quantum dynamics was the quantum leap forward, per Bloomberg. "It's niche," I said, letting him smirk. Lauren piled on. "Why the Honda, Elena? Fuel efficiency?" More laughter. "It gets me where I need to go," I replied, thinking of the boardroom where I'd signed a $4.2 billion deal that morning. Then my phone buzzed. Priya's name flashed, urgent, as she never called during family events unless it was critical. "Excuse me," I said, stepping toward the terrace. My mother sighed. "Elena, really, at dinner?" Lauren whispered to Sophie, probably her boss chewing her out. I ignored them, answering, "Priya, what's up?" "Elena, sorry to interrupt," Priya said, her voice crisp. "The jet's maintenance in Zurich needs your sign-off for the new quantum core upgrades before your Berlin summit. Also, the board wants you at the press conference tomorrow for the $4.2 billion next-gen merger." I glanced at the table, where Lauren was eavesdropping, her brow furrowed. "Jet?" she mouthed to Sophie, who shrugged. "Approve the upgrades," I said loudly, ensuring they heard. "And confirm the flight plan for Berlin with a stop in London for the EU regulators." The table quieted, forks pausing. Priya continued. "One more thing. Forbes is updating your net worth for their billionaire list. Should I give them $2.8 billion or wait for the merger's stock bump?" A glass crashed. Derek's, his hand frozen mid-gesture, wine pooling on the linen. "Wait," I said, locking eyes with my family's stunned faces. "The stock's up 22% today. It'll be higher tomorrow." I hung up, slipping my phone into my clutch as I returned to my seat. The silence was a living thing, thick and electric. My mother's napkin trembled in her hands. Lauren's face was pale, her necklace suddenly garish. Derek stared at his shattered glass, Sophie frantically typing on her phone, likely Googling my name. "Elena," my father said, his voice unsteady, "what was that about a jet?" I sipped my water, savoring the shift. "Oh, just logistics. I'm flying to Berlin for a summit, quantum dynamics business." Lauren's voice was shrill. "You're lying. You don't have a jet. You drive a Honda." I pulled out my phone, opened the Financial Times app, and slid it across the table. Quantum Dynamics, market cap $6.8 billion. CEO, Elena Thompson. Check the date. Derek snatched the phone, his fingers shaking as he scrolled. Sophie gasped, her screen showing a Forbes article. Elena Thompson, the Quantum Queen. My mother's voice was a whisper. Why didn't you tell us? I leaned back. Would you have listened? You've spent years calling me a failure, mocking my car, my clothes, my life. You never asked what I did. You were too busy fawning over Lauren's VP title or Derek's condos. That's not fair, Lauren snapped, her voice cracking. You let us think you were nothing. You chose to think that, I said. I built a company that's changing the world. I didn't need a Porsche to prove it. Derek sputtered. 6.8 billion? That's impossible. I laughed softly. I approved a $500 million R&D budget last week. Your $70 million deal is pocket change. My father, ever the opportunist, cleared his throat. Elena, we should discuss partnerships. Your success could elevate the family brand. I cut him off. The family brand that shamed me for starting Quantum instead of joining your firm? The one that laughed when I said I'd make it? No thanks. Aunt Vivian tried next. Darling, the country club would love a member like you now. The club that blackballed me for my Honda, I said. I bought its golf course last month. They'll find out soon. Lauren's eyes narrowed, her tone saccharine. Maybe I could join Quantum Dynamics. We're family, right? I quoted Derek's earlier jab. That little tech thing that'll be gone in a year? We're not hiring. Sophie, desperate, stammered, I've always loved tech. Name one quantum algorithm, I said. She froze. My mother's voice was small. Your car, your clothes. Why live like this? Because success isn't a logo, I said. I could buy this estate with a week's earnings, but I don't need to. I built something real, 12,000 jobs, tech that saves lives. That's my worth, not a handbag. My phone buzzed again, Ryan. Want the Tesla tonight or stick with the Honda? I texted back, Honda, it's perfect. I stood, smoothing my dress. I have a press conference tomorrow. Enjoy the gala. Lauren lunged forward. You can't just leave after this. Why not? I said. You've dismissed me for years. Now you get to sit with it. I picked up my purse. Oh, and Mom, that wine you swapped out, it's worth more than Lauren's bonus. Try it before you cook with it. As I walked out, the ballroom erupted. Lauren's protests, Derek's curses, Sophie's frantic LinkedIn requests. My mother ran after me, her heels clicking. Elena, please, we didn't know. I paused at my Honda, its dents gleaming under the streetlights. You didn't want to know. That's the difference. The next morning, my phone lit up. Lauren, sis, let's reconnect. Remember our old sleepovers? Derek, Ellie got a killer investment pitch for Quantum. Sophie, coffee soon? I'm so proud. My parents, darling, let's rebuild the family legacy together. I forwarded them to Priya with one word, block. At the press conference announcing the next-gen merger, a reporter asked about my Honda. It's not about what you drive, I said. It's about where you're going. The headline, Billionaire CEO's Honda Revolution, went viral. Lauren tried a new tack, posting on Instagram, always knew Elena was a star. I remembered her mocking my startup phase at every dinner. Derek pitched his properties to my board, who laughed it off. My mother joined a tech incubator board, name-dropping her CEO daughter. My father bragged about mentoring me to his golf buddies, who knew he'd called my dreams delusional. A month later, the gala invited me as guest of honor. I declined, citing a Tokyo summit. I was in Boston, working from my brownstone, Ryan cooking pasta in the background. Lauren's hedge fund laid her off. She sent me her resume. Family sticks together, right? Derek's latest deal tanked. He begged for a meeting. Sophie's fashion line folded. She tagged me in family pride posts. I ignored them, focusing on Quantum's next phase, a $7 billion AI healthcare initiative. My Honda still parks between Teslas and Ferraris at headquarters. My team calls it the legend, a nod to our ethos, substance over show. Yesterday, a new hire asked, "Is it true you're a billionaire who drives that?" I nodded. "Why?" he pressed. "Because I don't need to prove anything," I said. He grinned. "That's why I joined." This morning, my mother sent another gala invite, promising to display my wine properly. I returned the Chateau Petrus with a note, "For your cellar, pairs well with humility." Success isn't about proving them wrong, it's about proving you right. And the best revenge? Building a world they can't touch, then letting them watch from the outside. If this hit you, drop one word below: truth.